Live from New York, it's Ask an Engineer!
Hey everybody, welcome to an exciting Ask an Engineer show. We're broadcasting live from Adafruit headquarters in downtown Manhattan. I'm Lady Ada, I'm the engineer. With me is Adabot.
Hello!
He's on camera control.
Yes.
He's going to tell us what's on tonight's show.
Okay.
What's on tonight's show?
On tonight's show, we're going to talk about the show and tell we just did. Cool stuff was shared and shown. The Open Source Hardware Summit is coming. We sponsored it. You should sponsor it. You should get tickets. We'll talk about all that and more. Arduino has a new lab site. Instructables was acquired by Autodesk. We'll talk about that. There is a giant banner in San Francisco brought to you by Hackerspace's Make and Tech Shop. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about a new Hackerspace passport. Our friend Colin has an iPad app for people who do electronics. GitHub has a little cool badge. We'll talk about that. We have Software Sunday. We've got ZenCard Zensday. We've got jobs from the Adafruit Jobs Board. We've got Part Finder Friday. We're going to talk a little bit about what a customer did, a friend in the forums, I should say. We have announcements for our new LCDs, or our previous LCDs. We've got some new products. We'll talk about each of these, from probes to headers to our new LCDs. We'll spend some time on this. This is a RGB LCD. We've got tons of new EL wire projects ahead. We've got a splitter. Maybe we'll have time for It's Not Out Yet, Don't Ask. Maybe. I don't know. We'll answer your questions. We have a trivia question and a cat. All that and more on Ask an Engineer.
Who will bring out a cat?
Yeah. Okay. Let's first start off with the code. 10% off many kits. Use the code WEB on checkout. Use the code WEB and you'll see what is discounted. In the background, that's ARPANET logical map of March 1977.
This is when the internet, it was really just a circle.
20 years ago, the internet turned on August 6th. I don't know if you knew that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Let's start off with some
news.
Recap, some news. So we just did the show and tell. So every week for the folks just tuning in, we do a show and tell, and people bring their projects.
Mm-hmm.
They show stuff off, and a fellow named Clay came in and showed a really cool LCD from Sharp that when it gets power, it makes a mirrored surface.
Yeah, that's cool.
So cool. And Mouser, of all places, has them right away.
Yeah.
So there's no breakout board, or there's nothing yet. Obviously, Clay had to make something on his own to power it and show it.
Yeah.
Really cool. We'll have a follow-up post about it. And then there was a cool JunkBot CNC drawing bot.
Yeah.
That was really cool. There was a Arduino derivative, like a wireless one.
Mm-hmm.
And what else was on there? Aaron Robot Girl showed
FFT stuff.
Yeah, really good show and tell. So this is every week around 9:30 on. You can look on our site, and you go to Lady Ada's Google Plus profile, and you'll see the hangout. So get your projects ready for next week if you want to stop in around 9:30 and show and share them. We also stream it on Ustream.
Yes.
And it's recorded. So we got that going on.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Next up, the Open Source Hardware Summit is kicking in the high gear. I'm helping them out, making some announcements and such. This week, they are now taking sponsorship. So let me.
And there's a date, mid-September.
Yeah, it's September 15th in New York. Let me pop over to the. It should be around here somewhere. Oh, here it is. So here's the sponsorship information. You can sponsor, and there's different levels. So we sponsored as an enthusiast level, and you can really send them any amount of money. It's tax deductible, and anything that is over the cost of running it, they have a scholarship for people doing open source hardware. So very cool stuff. So if you want to support open source hardware and you can't make it to the conference, maybe donate a few bucks. It's something cool.
Yeah.
So.
And if you want to get tickets, you should get early tickets because the price will go up.
Yeah, there's early bird tickets available now too. It's on the site. So if you go to the site, opensourcehardwaresummit.org, and here we go, $35 if you get them now. Early bird starving artist pass. So cool stuff. All right, next up, Let's go to Arduino has a new lab site. This is yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was this week. They have some stuff that they worked on with other people, and they put it out for analysis. So for example, this Mega ADK, which we actually ordered and have not received yet because we're delayed, and a GSM GPRS shield, which they worked on with Telefonica. So these are cool things. I don't know exactly what the story is with the labs. I guess this is stuff that they're prototyping and designing, but they're not ready to release to the Arduino masses. But they did put up the schematics and layouts, I think, so you should check it out. I am actually kind of interested in the Mega ADK board. It's a derivative of the Android development kit that was released a couple months ago at Google I/O.
Yeah.
And so it was funny because Android and Google didn't tell Arduino that they were doing this, really.
Yeah.
So
it was
then
kind of a surprise.
It kind of was a surprise to them that they were like, "Oh, you guys made an Arduino, and it's the ADK."
Yeah.
But they were like, "Well, we should also maybe have an ADK," so that they designed one. And we did get a preview because we met up with them. But well, I guess they're still working on it.
Yeah, they're working on it. So if you have any questions about this or want to know more, just go to the labs.arduino.cc site. So. Okay, next up. Big news in the maker world. Instructables was acquired by Autodesk. The terms were not disclosed, so people want to know the price. And I think immediately people didn't know what to think about this, because it was, when you hear acquisition, people always assume that, well, they're acquiring whatever the net company has. Like, this is Instructables. They have millions of members and people who visit the site. But wait a second, Autodesk doesn't have anything to do with web traffic, or didn't even have a sales team that does advertising.
Yeah.
And that's how Instructables makes money. They make money by advertising revenue, like Google ads are on there, and they have custom ads, and they have a sales team, and they have pro memberships. So if you look at the past acquisitions of Autodesk, they were all other companies that make tools. Most recently, there was an online site that's like an image manipulator tool. So I wrote a big article called Autodesk Acquires Instructables, What It Means for Makers.
It's an in-depth. You worked on the article for like a week. I
had to really think about this because the reporting on this was just bad. None of the tech sites ever use Instructables or know about it.
Or Autodesk.
So they're just like, this is cool, we think. They must want all that web traffic.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, for people who have known about Instructables for a long time, there was a lot of assumptions like, oh, Instructables is going to force everybody to use Autodesk now, or it's going to be it's just going to turn into an Autodesk like manual site. That's actually not it. Instructables did a 1-hour video chat about all these types of questions. They also have a lot of stuff on their forums. Did a ton of research, and here's what I came up with. So the first thing I said, it's not about money, because Instructables, and this is my guess, I don't know if this is true, Instructables probably made only a few $1 million, probably not. If that, yeah. And so they got profitable, but they have a lot of traffic, around 50 million page views a month.
Yeah.
Autodesk makes $2 billion a year at least.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even a drop in the bucket for them.
Yeah.
So they don't care about it. It's not about the money. And if you look at sales by division, you can see how Autodesk makes all their money. And then again, I said it's not about the traffic. Autodesk doesn't want to be like a blog network. They don't, like Huffington Post had a bunch of traffic. That's why they merged with AOL or whatever. AOL bought the Weblogs Link Network a long time ago. And I added this a little note in there. So when I started Hackaday, and later on I left to do Make, and Hackaday was one of the only sites that didn't get acquired when AOL bought that blog network, because AOL was scared of the word hack. This was, I don't know, almost 10 years ago, maybe, yeah. And look at the difference now. Autodesk completely embraced the hack. There's really hacky projects, very questionably legal projects on Instructables, and they're like, this is what we want. We want this, but it wasn't about Autodesk. I mean, it wasn't about
traffic.
Traffic.
They're not a company that needs web traffic.
Yeah, and they don't. If they could just buy ads on the site, if they wanted to just market
That's true.
market their software.
I mean, an ad buy on Instructables is like, I mean, they could probably have all the ads they ever wanted forever for like a year for like $500,000.
So
if
in my article, you should look at. There's an interview with Carl Bass, and people have sent interesting emails afterwards. So this guy is the CEO of Autodesk. He has a giant wood shop, like bigger than like tech shop. It's massive.
He's got like a shop bot and lathe.
Yeah, and he makes
stuff.
he like hand makes all the bats for his kids' baseball team. He's a maker's maker. And he was at a Wired Business conference, and he talks exactly like, you know, Bree or you or like any of us in the maker world. It was very weird at times, like, whoa, Autodesk sounds, but now it all makes sense because he was probably talking to Autodesk. So on my article, I have they have one of their examples. So they're doing a lot of free tools. So you can download Autodesk 123D. It's basically Inventor without all the engineering stuff. And you can also get this free app that you take photos with your iPhone, and then you can make a 3D model. So they want to make it easy to take real-world things, get it into 3D tools. So buried in the press releases, there was one sentence that summed up everything. And it was, Instructables will be the community arm of the same team that makes 123D, Sketchbook, Homestyler, and Pixlr, which will help provide creative tools, inspiration, and services for all types of creative people. So basically they got, and so this is Christy and Eric and their 3-armed baby. These are her Halloween costumes. This is a climbing wall they had in their house, and this is their Halloween costume for their kid. I think they actually put the kid in this a lot and go out with him. Her, sorry. And so I talk about, you know, they're getting an infusion of this DNA. They actually want those people. This is more of a talent acquisition, if anything. They wanted the Instructables team. The future of Autodesk is going to be a lot of free apps. So you have 123D, which is free, and they're working with service bureaus.
Yeah,
like
and then
Pinocchio.
you can download, you can make a design in 123D, and then you can actually send it to fabrication directly, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of neat. I mean, that's what everybody wants. It's like it's all tied together.
And here's one of the examples. So you can use their free tool and upload your design, and then have someone laser cut it for you, and it sends it to you in the mail. And they want to be in the middle. Here's their sketchbook app. I got it for the iPad. I was playing around with it. It's really cool. But none of these tools that they have that are free or even low cost have a community around it. There's nothing like Instructables. And I think they realized they're never going to be popular with the new market, of the people who haven't adopted Pro Tools like Autodesk, unless they have an Instructables-like community. Mm-hmm. So what I think you're going to see, and I talk about this, is Instructables-like communities around all these other free tools. I've made some bold predictions here. I said, well, you're never going to see Autodesk giveaways or overt advertising, or like you have to put your files up on Instructables, the DWG format, or any of those things. You're not going to see that. In fact, I think Instructables will be completely left alone. You won't see anything.
Yeah.
I compared it to Flickr acquiring Yahoo. Like, what changed? Nothing really. Like, you had to log in different, and their servers were up more. But it's still a cautionary tale, because it would have been great if Flickr influenced Yahoo. Because Yahoo, the best thing about them is Flickr. You know, what's Yahoo done for us lately?
Yeah, we really like Flickr.
We really like Flickr. Next up, Homestyler. This is a tool that they make, and they just don't have an Instructables-like community. So, like, say if you want to redesign your house and do this awesome free online tool, you really need a big community to run with this. And then this is their online editing tool. So it looks like they're slicing off their expensive tools and making some free app versions and some web service, and they want to sit in the middle. You know, they know how to market to the professional, $2 billion company.
Yeah.
And they do stuff with students, they do everything. They just don't have anything in the middle, and that middle is millions of people in the maker world sharing stuff, sending it to service bureaus for printing out. So
yeah, I was thinking today, because Becky came over and she was talking about how you can get the little vinyl cutters, sticker cutters, for like $100. And I was thinking, why don't they just all use, like, you know, there should just be like one software that people use for, because so we use CAD for like CorelDRAW for the laser cutter, and then there's different software for the vinyl cutter, and there's different software for PCB layout, and there's different software for water jetting, and everyone has their own little software. It doesn't make any sense. It's all really the same thing.
Yeah, like we use CorelDRAW for our laser, but why? Why would, like, doesn't make
just because that's what everyone uses.
Because that's what there's print drivers for it. Yeah. Anyways, so I eventually, after many pages, get through to what it means for makers. And for makers specifically, big companies are going to start to find value in this space. So you're going to see tons of people. Tonight we saw a video from GE. GE, they make like nuclear power plants and missiles and stuff. And what is their latest advertising campaign? It's a MakerBot, where you send them ideas and they print it out on a MakerBot. Like GE has like a bone printing machine that prints out bones for people who need them. You know, like it's just they have the craziest, most advanced stuff.
Yeah, it's a little odd.
And they have a MakerBot. So
which they don't even make.
And if you look, Wired has the article. It'll be on the Adafruit blog later tonight. Wired summed up everything that's been going on in the makerspace, and like Red Bull will sponsor a hackerspace. Like it's big companies are getting involved. They really like it, and it just brings up another interesting thing. The maker movement is so pure and wholesome. And it's really one of the few things I think we have left. Like our credit rating in the country just got slammed, and you know the economy kind of is still going to crap.
Yeah.
The maker movement is a nice, good thing, and people want to be part of it, and big companies want to be a part of it. So that's if you're a maker, if you make things, you're more valuable than ever. The next thing, makers, the companies will have to do more for us. They'll have to give us free versions of their tools. They'll have to give us better pricing. They'll have to deal with open source licensing. They'll have to deal with Creative Commons licensing. They'll have to deal with weirdos like us. Because Autodesk specifically, Autodesk specifically wants Instructables-like communities.
Yeah.
That means they're going to get a lot of feedback, whether they like it or not, about different things. Some makers aren't going to like this at all, and that's okay too, because then they'll make their own versions of Instructables. They'll make their own how-to sites. That's fantastic. Look at iFixit. That's a how-to site. It's very good. They power the Make Project site behind the scenes, and they're also coming up with a standard for publishing how-tos. So progress. Lots of really cool stuff happening. Lastly, the fellow who wrote the Wired article, Tim, said it's fascinating. On one hand, we're seeing hardware building tools become easier to use, more broadly distributed, more democratic. On the other hand, that broader base is helping to create successful companies, which in turn is attracting interest from bigger fish. It's like the whole software coding personal computing revolution is playing out again. So if you think about it, look how far we've all gotten in the last 20 years because of the internet. Imagine what it's going to be like making stuff 20 years from now. It will be as easy as sending a file and a physical thing just shows up. Or you'll have this machine in your home and it'll be super easy to use and you'll be able to share stuff. You'll be able to look at something and take a photo of it with a super Kinect-like camera that can do 3D mapping and instantly print it out. If you see something, you may be able to do tea, Earl Grey hot, and have it materialize almost. Pretty cool.
I don't know if they would be able to print tea, but they'll probably be able to print the mug that the tea can go in.
I'm going to drink printed tea.
Okay.
All right. So let's keep moving. So that's the article. Read it. It's giant. It's big. It took me forever. Next up. If you're in San Francisco, this kind of goes with the article. It's so cheap to buy billboard space, and it's so available that anyone can buy one, including a hackerspace. So Make, Hacker Dojo, the Tech Museum, Noisebridge, and Tech Shop have a banner in San Francisco, a giant, and you can just see it. And all it says is invent. Very cool. I saw this on Mitch's.
Not invent with an exclamation point. I bet they debated that a lot.
Yeah.
Should there be an
actually, they have
exclamation
three.
point? Should be the exclamation point or just a period.
Yeah, that's a period. But this came from Mitch, who founded, one of the co-founders of Noisebridge. He also did something else really interesting this week. He released the Hacker Passport. Beautifully done, awesome. So when you visit hackerspaces, you get a little stamp.
Yeah.
And if you look really close, this is just one of the graphics. It has Bill and Ted on the back, and it says "Be excellent to each other" because that's the Noisebridge motto. And there's these cool little watermarks from all the hackerspaces. Really cool idea, really neat. It's very funny, very subtle jokes.
It's good. He said he wanted to encourage people to travel to hackerspaces, and now there's a little bit of an incentive.
Yeah.
You can go around and get stamps, and it's really easy to make a stamp. You can carve one by hand, or you can laser cut it.
Yeah, we have a link to this PDF if you want to print these out on your own. He's going to be selling them soon at CCC, where I think he's at now. He's giving these away or selling
these.
He's
probably going to have these for sale at every conference he goes to. So, he didn't make it to Detroit Maker Fair, did he?
I think he was in Europe. So.
Yeah, I think he's in Europe. But if you're at Hope next year, there's going to be a Hope next year, right? Yeah. He'll probably be there, and he'll probably have them there. So go to your local hacker convention and pick one of these up, and then you can collect stamps.
Next up, our friend Colin released a very good electronics app. There's a lot of crappy electronics apps out there. This is a very good one. It's for iPad. and you can do resistor values. You can do some multiple resistors, LED resistor calculator, Ohm's law, number converter. Really cool app. I downloaded it, I paid for it. Very neat. Check it out. I think you did a good job. I also saw that someone else made an app that you look at resistors with your iPhone camera, and it'll tell you the values.
Yeah.
Yeah, neat stuff.
That's tough though, because like sometimes even humans can't tell. I don't know.
It's only for iPad. Someone asked. It is only for iPad, from what I recall. Next up, this was something we posted on our site. I just wanted to talk about it briefly. GitHub now has badges. Well, no, I'm sorry. Another site powers your ability to do badges.
Yeah, I think it's another project. Yeah. The project is on GitHub. You can download the code for the project on GitHub, but it's not a GitHub project.
So
you get a little badge.
You put in your name. Yeah, you put in your name, and I'll tell you how many public repositories you have. We have 62, and I think this is the Better Business Bureau of the future.
Yeah.
Where if you are a company, you should be judged on how many things you have in like Google code or GitHub code.
Yeah.
Because that means that you're willing to share what you think is a good product. There's always internet debates about closed source versus open source. When you do open source, you're kind of telling the world, hey, I'd like to get improvements. I'd like to make this better. In fact, I'm so confident that this is probably a good idea, and I think people like it. I'm going to just put it out there. I'm going to show my work. Mm-hmm. So we'll see what happens. I think Erin Robacher, who was in the show and tell, she has a badge on her site, and you can see how many things she's contributed to. This is basically the resume of the future too. If you want to hire a programmer.
There actually are a lot of companies that I've seen in the job listing. They say you have to send us an open source project or your Git account repo, like your public repos. So that we can look at it. I'm at 62 or 63 or something. Yeah. I want to hit 100 this year.
Yeah.
I'm going to try to hit 100. Yeah. I've released like 25 Arduino libraries so far. I'm on a roll. I really like a well-written Arduino library, because then you can port it to another microcontroller.
Yeah.
So that's why I put it on GitHub.
So this is for, I know, we have lots of folks who watch the show, and we don't expect everybody to buy stuff from us. But when you buy things from other people who sell electronics, you should always ask them, where's your code on GitHub or wherever? Can I check it out? Like that's how I think people should support, electronics. Like, one, tell them that you think this is important. We upload our hardware, our board files there, everything.
Yeah. I like it because it's so easy to fork. Because people are like, oh, I want to fork the project, and then they can pull they can send pulls. For hardware layout files, it's not great, of course, because it's binary.
Yeah.
But it's still better. It's compared to what we have done in the past, which was emailing zips around or posting a .zip to the forum.
Yeah.
Now people say, hey, I made a monocron clock, and I say, perfect. This is a good, if you're a geek and you want to, this is a really good opportunity for you to go on GitHub, do a fork, do your mods, and post it. And they're like, yeah, I will, and they do, or they do. Somebody committed some code to us a few weeks ago.
It also goes the other way. I was thinking, so companies that don't behave well to consumers, they're also on GitHub, but in a very different way. There's a lot of projects on GitHub that are Sony hacks. People they get taken down. Sony has the most takedown requests on GitHub, so people who want to jailbreak their PlayStation.
Yeah.
So it works the other way too.
Yeah. Okay, anyways, we like GitHub.
Yeah. Next up, Serial Port Monitor. This was Software Sunday.
Yeah, this was Software Sunday.
Yeah.
So this software, this is a piece of Windows software only, because to be honest, I'm sure that exists for Mac and Linux. But when you're doing hardware design, for example, this is when I was doing the trying to write an Arduino library for the serial TTL camera that we just put in the store last week. And pretty much nobody ever has written any good code for these types of cameras, and it all sucks. The datasheet kind of sucks. But there is an example software that comes with the camera that's here, so you can do everything with that software. And so I was like, okay, well, the datasheet has all these mistakes in it, because it's translated 8 times, and it's just copied and pasted and whatever. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to use the software, and then I'm going to peek at the COM port, because it's a serial port camera, and see what data is going back and forth. And so you can see here, there's the hex on the right, and then there's read and write, success, which just tells you whether it was successful in sending the data. And this is really handy if you're doing any kind of debugging or analysis of any COM port stuff. Anything that reads or writes from a COM port, you want to check if your code's working, what's really being written, especially if you are trying to do some weird stuff where it's binary and hex and decimal. You want to make sure that the output is correct This is a really, really handy tool. Really, really like it. We use it a lot. It's called Portmon, and it's part of a group of utilities that was written by this fellow. I can't remember his name. A couple years ago, he wrote like
Technic.microsoft.com.
I think they linked to it. He's not a Microsoft. He's a Microsoft developer, but I don't believe he actually worked at Microsoft. But he did do some really good code, and I think he actually even wrote a USB analyzer. It's been a while since I've looked at it. Anyways, really good. So if you do any kind of Windows embedded development, you must have this piece of software. And also check out all the other things that he's done. The fellow who wrote this code, or his group. Check out all the other things they've done. I have all of the utilities, and they're really fantastic.
Okay. We'll speed up a little bit because we got a lot of stuff ahead. This is Zencard Zensei. Add a ticker to your store. A lot of people have asked us how we have a little ticker that pulls in our blog posts on our store. And this is just a Zencard mod. Every week we release a new little piece of code that if you have Zencard, or if you want to make an open source part, you can look at this and do it.
This is cool because I just want to mention something briefly. This code looks at the RSS feed. So there's actually no database interaction here, which is really, really nice because the WordPress installation might be separate. You might have your blog on a separate place than your store. We have it in the same place, and theoretically, we could have access to both databases, but it's so much easier to use the RSS feeds. It just uses the RSS feeds and parses it. So that's kind of handy.
Next up on our job boards, there is a job for there's an open source camera controller.
He should talk to the guy who just did that Flash thing. That's what he wants.
Yeah, it's a...
in the show and tell.
Yeah, it's called the Camera Axe. And so check it out. It's on our jobs board, adafruit.com/jobs. And next up, Part Finder Friday. Okay. We have a stereo jack.
Actually, can you skip to like this? And I forgot to grab the stereo jack. You can skip to these or something.
Okay, well, I'll jump ahead.
Yeah.
Real quick, these are LCDs that we carry. And because we got a much better deal and we're buying so many, we've lowered prices. So, did you have anything to add about that? Why we lowered the prices?
They just were cheap. We were buying so many that we could lower the price. The red and black, actually, we're trying to. We're not going to carry it afterwards because we have the replacement.
Yeah.
But we got VFDs and we've got LCDs for us. Okay, so go back to the project.
Okay, so let's go back to Part Finder Friday.
All right, thank you. And then can we go to the overhead?
Yeah.
I want to show this headphone jack. So this is an audio jack, and this is for when you want to plug a headphone cable in. So it's a standard 3.5 millimeter stereo jack, and it's got 5 pins, so it's got a switch connection. So it's ground, right, left, and then there's right and left switch. And that's good because if you're using it as a microphone input, you can have the switches connected to ground. So when something's unplugged, it's not floating and picking up hum. And if it's an output, you can have it switch between, say, like a speaker. If you unplug the headphone, like a lot of stereos, you unplug the headphone, it uses the speakers, or at least my old stereo does. But the really neat thing about these headphone jacks is that you can plug them right into a breadboard. So you don't need, well, this is not the best place to plug it, but if you plug it in here, it sits very nicely right up against the head, against the breadboard. And it plugs in nicely, and then you have the 5 pins in a row that you can plug. So it's like left switch, ground, right switch, right. So this is a really cool headphone jack. I might put this in the store because we have a bunch of these. We use them for the Wave Shield. They're really nice. And again, yeah, you can just plug them into a breadboard, and you're doing audio stuff.
Yeah. Okay. Next up, these are really beautiful charts that Scott did. He was in the show and tell last week, and maybe the week before. Mm-hmm. And he was able to tweak the cufflink code and the iNecklace code even more, and he made these beautiful graphs. And there were some surprising results, and I know you wanted to talk about
Yeah, this is kind of neat, because I actually wasn't sure what was going to come up with this. So, when we drive the display, this is positive, this is the, sorry, they didn't display, the LED for the cufflink, we use a 3-volt coin cell, and it goes through a 220 ohm resistor, and this is like a really, really bright white LED. And even though white LEDs usually want like 3.4 volts, they do, you can drive an LED at below the forward voltage, it'll just be dimmer. And then we dimmed it even a little bit more by putting in this resistor. So the question is, and this was somebody asked this on the forum, is right now we have a full 0 to 100 PWM cycle. So when the LED is off, it's at 0 PWM. It's off. And then we slowly PWM, more and more and more until we get to 100% PWM. And so the question was, well, this resistor, you know that resistors are not reactive. So this is dissipating power always. So the question is, what if we, put this down to 22 ohms? So it's 1/10 of the resistance, or maybe even, heck, just short it out and have it be 0 ohms. And then instead of having full 100% PWM only up to like 10% or 30 or 40% to get the same brightness, right? Because you have less resistance, so the LED is going to be brighter, but then you're PWMing less, and then you don't lose any of the power in that resistor, which is an interesting question. And I said, actually, I don't know if that would be better. We sort of assumed that this was going to be better for the power usage, but maybe not. So let's look at the graphs. So what Scott did, because Scott was kind of like, yeah, sure, I'll try this out, and he has like a meter and everything, is what he determined is that actually, because the nonlinearities of the LED and the nonlinearities of the battery, because the battery also has internal resistance, and the battery actually doesn't like to supply 20 milliamps. These little coin cells, they have internal resistance that's quite high. They only like to supply maybe like, a milliamp or so. And so you're actually better off using a resistor to choke down the LED current, and then having the PWM go from 0 to 100 to get that full brightness, because you do have to have a certain brightness for the look you want. So setting the resistance for the brightness actually is better than not using the resistor and varying the PWM. It also makes it look a lot nicer. So that I thought was really interesting, and there's more details in the forum post. So
yeah. What's up?
We have to keep moving, but do check that out.
So while you're getting the part, I just mentioned that we're getting better deals on things.
Yeah.
And so...
and we have this on discount because I want to get rid of them.
Yeah. And let's jump into some new products.
Okay, great.
So you got this.
Yeah, this is cute. So this is a cable. This is pretty easy to understand. It's a cable, and it adapts from standard 2.1 slash 5.5 inch. I don't have a connector here. Hold on. Let me get one so I can try to attach it. But it adapts from, for example, we actually carry this for the Chumby board because the Chumby Hacker board uses a 1.7 millimeter, not a 2.1. So this is too big. So this adapter, you can plug this in and it's like nice and clean, and then you can plug this into like your PlayStation or like some phones have this connector, or your Chumby Hacker boards.
Will this work with a real non-hacker Chumby?
I think that the real Chumbies use a slightly different connector, actually. They use an even more unusual and difficult to get connector.
Okay. Next up, we have new power adapters.
Yay.
Real UL certified power adapters.
Yes, so this 5-volt adapter, so the 5-volt adapter we had before was sort of a cheaper PSP 2 amp adapter, and it was okay, but it was a little noisy, and it wasn't really good when you were starting to get above an amp or so. It was okay, but it wasn't, it did droop a bit more than we would like. And so when it was time for us to refill our stock, we decided to actually go to a factory that is UL listed and get a really nice 10-watt adapter. So this is the adapter, and it's just sort of this. Look at the overhead. Oh,
sure.
It's got the standard pluggy type, and then it's got the 2.1 adapter, and then we have proper non-focusing, but you can kind of see there's a UL and a CE and FCC.
You can pull the camera up more, so move your hands out.
Yeah, but then I have to hold it up.
Yeah.
It's gonna be tough, but you can have a picture on the website. That's really easy to see. So it's a upgrade adapter, so it's not a new product, it's an upgrade.
Yeah. Next up, probes.
Probes. Okay, let me show these also on the overhead. So these are they're if you don't know what they are, you're like, what the heck is this? So it's a little clip, and they're really quite small. Just to focus, and they have a little spring in them, so you can press them open, and then this is really hard to see, but there is a little hook, a double hook inside of them.
Yeah.
And so I brought out like this circuit board. So for example, if you're connecting up to this SOIC, like you would never be able to get a scope probe connected up to an SOIC chip. That would be really hard to do. But with these little probes, you can actually...
Yeah, look at that.
Wait, hold on. I can't do this, it's so close. Wait, hold on. Let me do it away from the camera so I can actually see it, and then I'll put it under the camera again. Okay, there you go. Yeah, so you can grab onto the pins pretty easily, and they get pretty good connection, and you can even connect in the middle, and it won't short to the other pins on the side. So this is really handy if you have like SYCs or SOTs, or I think even larger TQFPs will work with these guys. And then to connect to them, there's on the side, there's these little pins that stick out, and you're not really meant to solder to them. You would use a 0.1 inch
what type
cable.
of amperage do they take?
I would not use these for current passing more than like 20 or 50 milliamps. That's not what they're meant for. These are really meant for probes, not for power. But yeah, maybe you can see a little better now. You can plug it in.
All right, next up, these
These
pins.
are extra long headers.
Extra long headers.
Okay, I have to show this on the overhead too. So these are like header, but longer. So most header.
This is a popular request.
Most header ends here, so it's short on one side and long on the other, and that's good for most header because you want like it sitting flat against the circuit board and not having extra length. But what's nice about these is that they plug into a breadboard. That's kind of what we got them for. So you can plug them into a breadboard, and then you can, I don't know, use your probe hooks or something. That's kind of handy. You can use your probe hooks, or you can connect servos to stuff. Or I don't even know. They're really handy though. You have like female header on something.
What is the mating length? What mating length is considered long?
This long and a half a centimeter. I'm really bad at judging small distances. I think it's about half a centimeter or so. But check the data sheet. But anything, I think the really short ones are like 0.2 inches. I think that's what is considered too short.
Do you have female to long male headers too, like the ones in the Arduino shields?
Yeah, those are stacky headers, and we have those.
Yeah, we saw those.
They're called stacky.
Okay.
Stacky headers.
Next up, big product announcement for us: RGB LCDs.
Yeah.
So,
okay, so I have a demo. I have a demo.
Yeah, the RGB LCD. I'm gonna play a quick video to show it.
Well, the video's the same as this thing.
I have a video.
All right, show the video.
This is a video.
But it's gonna be disappointingly similar to the demo. Alright.
And there it is. You want to go to the overhead?
Yeah, I've got the demo. So this is the negative display.
We'll do it live.
We'll do it live. So this is the Arduino. I was testing these out, and so this is negative, and so it's a dark display, and then it looks a little brighter than it is. It's actually not so bright. And then I'll show the
And one of the cool things that a lot of people mention when they see this and they get it, they're like, oh my gosh, I can have, my computer give sensor information or whatever, and then also change the color. Like when my CPU is getting really hot, the screen can turn red.
Yeah, this is totally freaking out the camera. That's cool. So these have an RGB LED in them, and you can kind of see the RGB LED here. Maybe I'll turn over this one so you can see it better. So there's a 4-pin LED here, and then there's these resistors. And then instead of having 16 pins along the edge, there's 2 pin sets, because we're like, heck, if we had to have these custom made to get them the way we wanted. So instead of having 16 pins, they have 18 pins. So if you use this in a normal character LCD setting, it just looks like red. It's only the red LED, and then pins 17 and 18 are green and blue. Actually, this one is the older one. This is the proto. The ones that we have, the ones that were not prototype have, on the back they have the...
2 quick questions. How good is white on them, and are these much harder to use than normal LCDs?
They're exactly the same to use as normal LCDs. The RGB LED is not balanced. So you can do white, but what you have to do is you have to figure out how to tweak the PWM to get a white color, because no RGB LED is on its own balanced. The red and the usually it's the red and the green are much brighter than the blue. I think, yeah. Usually the red's much brighter and the green is often much brighter than the blue color, and so that's just like because that's how they make them, and so and also what we perceive as brightness. So instead of having them, these LEDs pre-balanced to white, they're just made as bright as they can make them for that price, and then you're supposed to balance them. So we don't have the exact balancing details, but you could sit there with a couple trim pots and figure it out, and then you'd have white.
Are these 3 volt?
These are 5 volt. I don't know if they would work at 3 volt. You know what? I think that sometimes you can kind of just use these at 3 volt.
Yeah. Do you have code for Arduino to go with the RGB LED color cycle that like the Cufflink uses?
Well, the Cufflink doesn't use an RGB color cycle. It's just a pulse. We do have a little snippet of code. We can post it. You can use any RGB color cycling code. There's a ton of examples out there, and you just pretend like it's an RGB LED.
Do you prefer the positive or negative ones?
I kind of like them both. I think the positive one is a little bit nicer, but most people seem to like the negative more. So I don't know. It depends on whether you want to kind of go gothy or if you want to be bright and colorful. I think your personality has a lot to do with this, I think.
Next up. Okay. Lots of EL. We have all the colors. And ours are super bright, and they're awesome. We waited for a long time to find EL wire that kind of met our standards, and our standards are pretty high because we don't like crappy EL wire. It's kind of
this is the
there's
same,
a lot of bad EL wire out there.
This is the same kind that we've actually carried before, but we only carried the brightest, the blue.
We only had blue.
And then we had to place an order because we ran out, and we're like, okay, well, we have more space because we cleaned out a bunch of space and put up shelves. You can't see them, but there's more shelves. And so we were like, okay, well, we have another shelf, so let's get. Yeah, we'll get all the different colors.
This is gonna freak the camera out, I'm sure. But
the camera is. You know what? They're not actually that bright.
Looks pretty good.
So these are all the colors in a row, and you know what? It's interesting. On the video, the colors look better than on my camera. My camera, I tried to take a good picture, and the pink didn't come out very pink, but it's actually quite pink. This is pink, and then there's red, and then there's orange, yellow. This is lime green, which is crazy bright. Blue, and then this is the aqua color. This is the raw EL color, and then this is white. The white looks a little bit unusual, but it doesn't look white. It is white, so that's kind of neat. So yeah, we have all of these, and then we asked the factory, like, hey, like, can we get these pre-crimped? Because we have the pocket inverter. Let me see. Yeah, this guy, which is our favorite EL inverter. We've done a lot of Burning Mans with these inverters. And they're really handy. They're 2 AA batteries. You can use rechargeables, and they work great. So we're like, okay, well, this can handle up to 2.5 meters. So we're like, okay, can you just cut them at 2.5 meters and solder on the connector? And they're like, yeah, we do that all the time. We have all the equipment to do that. So they actually did them all for us so that you can get them pre-cut, pre-soldered. So you just plug them in, and they have a connector already on them, ready to go, which is really nice because sometimes you just want to have like a strand. And we do have tutorials on how to hack these to split them and do whatever, but it's kind of nice to not have to do that.
Okay, and speaking of, we also have, as you mentioned, the splitter.
Yeah, we also picked up some splitters. Yeah, you can see here or there, and it's just it's just a 4-to-1 splitter. And then you can plug because I have 8, and these are plugged into some big inverters that we have that can drive a whole bunch of EL. And these they're just like handy. You can always cut off one if you don't want to use all of them.
Some questions. Can you make your own inverter?
You can make your own inverter, but a lot of times it's tough to make it as small as the ones that are out there, and they're not going to be necessarily.
And then someone says color by power? Question mark.
That question makes no sense.
Yeah.
You need a verb. Add a verb to that question. There you go. Colorful.
What's the voltage? What voltage and current do these require?
The voltage can range from about 75 volts to like 120 volts, and the frequency is about 1 to 2 kilohertz. And they'll get brighter the higher the frequency and the higher voltage. We had actually a really good detailed tutorial about EL that talks about how they're capacitive, not resistive, and so why like the power usage and color and frequency are all related. if you want to read details about
Not
EL.
frequency, current.
The current will depend on how long the strip is. But again, you should read our tutorial because there's not a resistor, it's a capacitor, and so the current will change with frequency and voltage.
All right. Did you want to do something I don't ask?
Yeah, we have.
All right.
I have a little bit of time.
Okay.
Okay. So we also. Let me unplug this inverter. And
It's not out yet, so don't ask. This is a segment when we show you some things that's not out yet, so please don't ask any questions about it.
Thank you for that detailed introduction. Okay,
Yeah.
so first up, hold on, I'm getting there.
All right. Want to go to the overhead?
Yeah.
Okay, overhead.
Just hold on. Just chill.
We're gonna sell whiteboards.
Shoosh.
This is what they call
Hold on.
dead air in the biz.
Look, I'm working hard here. There's
Yeah.
too many connectors. Which is this going to?
Okay, look at this nice photo of a butterfly.
All right, now I'm done.
That's nice.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay.
So, the first thing I'm going to show, because a lot of people are like, hey, we like this EL wire, but why don't you have EL tape? And the answer is we're getting EL
tape.
So this is the taped version of EL, and this is white and this is blue, and those are the first two samples that we got. And the white is pretty nice, actually. And the blue is, again, it's the natural color of the EL. And then you can wind this around. And they use more power than the wire.
It has an adhesive back.
Yeah, there's an adhesive back. I don't know how I feel about the adhesive back. It's optional. I might keep it on, but we can have the factory not put it on. But yeah, so it's wider. So you can only use. It has to be the inverter has to be 5 times as powerful to drive the same length because it's 5 times as wide. Because it's a bigger capacitor. And then we also got, because we weren't happy with that, we also got
EL panels.
sheet.
Yeah.
This one's cut, so it's a triangle.
Yeah, we needed to cut this to just do a test.
We wanted to see what happens if you cut them, and it turns out you can cut them.
Yeah,
the
so we're gonna have big
out.
square panels very soon.
Oh boy. Well, the camera's freaking out, but maybe I'll hold it up because
Yeah.
there you go. So it's
Here
too bright for the camera. So yeah, this is a it just looks like I'm.
That's what Transformers eat.
It looks like an energy square. So it's this was a full rectangle, and they were like, what happens if you cut it? So as long as you have this connection down here, this acts like a capacitor, and I think maybe this corner might be a little dimmer, but you can't really tell. So you can cut this into shapes.
Yeah, and it's super flexible, so you can do a lot of cool stuff with it. So do not eat the EL.
Yeah, so this is the natural blue EL, so you can kind of see the color better if it's reflecting off of me. So yeah, we have the strip, and it doesn't look too bad in the studio. Usually this stuff is really.
Although this is not out, you don't ask. I will allow a question that came through.
What?
General question.
What's the general
Can
question?
you cut EL wire while it's plugged in?
I would not suggest it.
Yeah, so don't.
Don't.
I'll say this. You know what? Never cut anything that's powered.
Yeah, no, that's a good suggestion.
I can't think of a good time to do that.
There's pretty much no good time. Yeah, it's pretty much how people get electrocuted. Not EL wouldn't electrocute you, but.
Yeah. Okay. Except for maybe defusing a bomb. That's the only thing I can think of. Okay. So.
Now we're up to general questions.
We're done with this. Not out yet, so don't ask. Okay. Good. Real quick reminder: the code is web 10% off mini kits. Web. All right. General questions. Ask your general questions in the chat, and we will try to get to them in the next 10 minutes or so. Let's see.
I'm gonna put all this stuff away.
Any chance you'll be offering an AD9851 DDS signal generator kit?
I've played with those chips, but I'm not sure because I don't know whether that's something that would be very popular, and it takes a long time to work on. So I'm not so sure. But I've played with them. They're nice chips.
You asked, is it TFT technology? I don't know what that was reference to. So.
What?
I don't know. I'll be in New York for the first time next week. Any tips? Let's see. Any tips about New York? It's hot right now, so we just have bottled water. You're going to spend $20 per hour here no matter what.
That's true.
No tips. Hit the big museums. I mean.
That's always easy.
Yeah.
But be careful. You want to show up really early because it gets super crowded. This is the tourist month, so it's going to be really crowded anywhere you go.
Is there an EL wire shield for Arduino?
Yes, I think SparkFun has one.
I don't know.
but I've never used it, so I don't know whether it works very well or not.
When will the Arduino Shield be in stock?
We don't have one.
No, what? The Ethernet Shield.
Ethernet Shield. I think the Arduino Shield.
Yeah.
The Ethernet Shield will be in stock the moment that Arduino ships my order, which is unknown.
How fast does EL wire light up after power is applied?
It's a couple milliseconds. You can't pulse them fast.
Yeah. Got an existing circuit I'd like to control. How to tell if an opto-isolator will not be destroyed?
I have no idea. I don't understand. I mean, you have to look at the schematic to know exactly whether your opto-isolator will be destroyed. But I would look at the specs in the data sheet and make sure that you don't go past the maximum specifications.
What type of connectors are on the flexible LED strips?
The LED strips, it's some like 0.1 JST connector. We don't know. Some of them don't come with connectors because we cut them. So you should pick your own connector for whatever you do.
Any tools like fritzing that is easier to use for the newbie hacker?
There's nothing easier than fritzing.
Yeah. What touch screen would you recommend for pushing advertising to?
I have no idea what that question means. Yeah. I don't think that's an electronics question.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Your product list has doubled in the past year or two. How are you dealing with shortage? Or storage, sorry.
We have a lot of shelves. Actually, I wanted to do Manufacturing Monday. The next one is going to be all about storage. Because I took some photos. We just put up a bunch of shelves. We're in a pretty small space here. And we're moving stuff around and we're trying to optimize as much as we can. Because it's a small studio. But a lot of it is just figuring out like how to stack things up high, and then how to store things efficiently, and also when we order stuff, we do split shipments. So for example, we might order like power adapters, and we'll say, okay, well we're going to buy like 500 power adapters, but only ship us 200 now, and then ship us the other 300 in a few months, and so that way we don't have to store thousands and thousands of power supplies because we don't go through them that fast.
Okay, speed round. Do a few of these. Any chance of a second awesome Arduino enclosure, like for a larger display? I would say write up what you want and post it in our forums, and we'll take a look at it because we'd like to do more.
It's tough because the minute you make a display, the minute you make a enclosure, it could always be bigger. So we're not sure. Also, enclosures, they cost like $10,000 to make a mold for. So if we make one, has to be the right one. So that's why we don't do enclosure design. It's very, very expensive.
Have you guys considered designing a multiplexer shield for expert I/O pins? The only one out has terrible header connectors.
We're not, but we might start carrying some multiplexer chips, and then you can just use those. You can, I guess you could do something with 2.5 millimeter connectors. It's tough. It's like, oftentimes, if you want more pins, you end up just going with a Mega. That's pretty common. And if you need people who need more pins, usually it's LEDs, and then you just get an LED driver. I've rarely seen anyone who really needed a multiplexer board that was a true multiplexer, because it's it's an analog multiplexer. Well, that's not good for some stuff. It's a digital multiplexer. It's not good for analog stuff. It's an LED multiplexer. Well, it's not good for inputs. It's input multiplexer. It's not good for LEDs. So there's like many types of multiplexers, and that's why I think that usually people come up with their own custom solution.
Okay. Do we do tours? No.
Nope.
Not at this time. What touchscreen have you used that can handle real-time push a picture or video?
We don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know do we have anything that could handle real-time video, like Chumby?
Yeah, the Chumby, but then it doesn't come with
it doesn't come with a screen. I don't think we really do video stuff.
And even the Chumby doesn't do full video. It does animation.
Ever think of making a PC board mounting hole space so they fit an off-the-shelf Radio Shack project box?
No, because there's no guarantee that those are going to stay the same, and I don't have a lot of faith in other. Designing something for somebody else's enclosure is usually comes with mixed results.
Yeah. Can you sell a DIY Arduino Mega at any point?
I don't think there's much point to that. It wouldn't be cheaper than the Arduino Mega, and the Mega chip is surface mount, so you kind of have to go with an Arduino Mega.
Okay. Have we jailbroken our iPad? No, not yet. Could we do a video tour? Actually, the Wired video that's on our site is a video tour, and there's some video tours on our About section. And as soon as we we're in the middle of moving stuff, we'll probably do an Ask an Engineer where we go around.
It's not much bigger than this room.
Yeah.
It is a studio loft. It's basically like this, but then like times 3.
Next up, why are CR1212 batteries so difficult to find?
I've never heard of a CR1212. I've only heard of CR1216 and CR1220 and CR1225. So it's probably why you're having difficulty. I don't think they exist.
Are you planning a really small Android plug-in adapter with the API-capable Arduino on it?
We don't have any plans at the time.
Do you have a 3x3 LED cube Arduino Shield kit?
No, we do not. These are good questions. Yeah. Things that we do not have.
Yeah.
We also do not have a pony.
Yeah. What about Mega with pins instead of sockets or no headers?
Yeah, we don't have anything like that. Sorry.
Did you look up the Femtoduino?
We have not had time to look up any Femtoduinos.
Yeah. You know who has ponies? The guy who made all that project.
He has ponies.
He has ponies.
He has ponies.
He does.
He does. It's kind of cool. He's got
Yeah.
all the ponies you could ever want.
Okay, and I think...
It's different when you have actual ponies.
Are there
though.
DHT XX sensors more accurate for temperature than your other temperature sensors?
I would say if you want accurate temperature sensing, the DS18B20 is probably your best bet for the money. The Sensoron also is very accurate. And probably the BMP085 is actually... No, that's actually not that very accurate. But you can look at the specs. There are specifications for each one of them. Look at them and find the one that has the least % error and the highest precision for your needs.
How much do we love New York? It's the best city in the world, so a lot. How bad is it to underpower an electronics device voltage and amperage?
It depends a lot about the project, but usually you can be a little flexible with voltage. A lot of things will be, but again, it's like how reliable does it have to be? If you're like, okay, I'm going to send this thing into space, you better not. You better have like, the power supply be perfect. If you're just doing something on your benchtop and you're like, damn, I don't have a 9-volt, maybe I'll just put a bunch of AA's together and get like 6 volts. Is that good enough? It's probably fine.
Okay. Can you control EL wire with a microcontroller?
You can using a TRIAC. There's actually a lot of tutorials up there on how to use a TRIAC to do that.
Okay, and then can you recommend a good intro to microcontroller book?
Any of the Arduino books we have are a great introduction to microcontrollers, and then once you're comfortable with Arduino, it's really easy to take that knowledge and then use it for any other microcontroller because the very difficult things don't get thrown at you all at once. So instead of learning about registers and ports, you go straight to understanding how to do like digital I/O, and then you later learn the more complicated things. So, any of the Arduino books out there are pretty good.
What's your favorite non-Arduino microcontroller? So not AVR.
Yeah, we like the LPC 1343, which we actually have a dev board for. It's a good chip.
Yeah. We have more Arduino's books in stock. Which ones? Which ones do you want?
Yeah, there's a lot. So we haven't actually even had time to read all these books because there's like half a dozen. But if there's one out there that you think is really good, you should tell us, and we have a distributorship with a book publisher, so it's easy for us to get more books.
Next up, would you make something with same output as a bridge rectifier out of MOSFETs? Could you make something the same output as a bridge rectifier out of MOSFETs?
Yes. You could use the body diodes. I don't know if that's what you mean, but if you want to make like an ideal diode, I think you have to have a controller for it. That's a weird question. I have to think about that.
Trivia question time. I'm going to do trivia question time. So only enter if...
Okay, do I do the rules? No?
Yeah, do the rules.
Okay, so if you have entered this contest before and you have won something fabulous, even if you want this fabulous thing, you should still let other people win this fabulous stuff. If you're a friend of ours, you can't enter the contest. Today's prize is you get an RGB LCD. You just tell us which one you want. You get extra long headers.
Yeah.
And you get another LCD. Never mind. You just get 2 LCDs and extra long headers. I don't think the probes are useful for many people.
Okay, so the trivia question is in regards to the 20-year anniversary of the internet. Tim Berners-Lee is known for inventing it while he was at CERN. What does CERN stand for?
I was going to just say Vince Cerf, just because that's a great name. Oh, wait, I forgot. Sorry.
Not the internet, just the web. Sorry, just the web. Yeah.
The other prize is this old 5-volt adapter.
What does CERN stand for? Oh, here we go. Reporting JR. Congratulations, you got it.
What does CERN stand for?
European Organization for Nuclear Research.
Yeah.
So reportings SJR. You won.
Wow.
Email support@adafruit.com. We'll send you the stuff. CERN is interesting because, in addition to being the home of the web, where it came from Tim Berners-Lee, they released the first open source hardware license.
That's true.
CERN. Doing it. I wish DARPA.
Bringing it out.
I wish DARPA.
Throwing down.
Would get really worried and like do an open source.
That would be cool if DARPA was like, we're totally like not going to let CERN take our show. We also have a license.
Yeah, DARPA is sponsoring like hackerspace stuff now, which is kind of cool. By the way, it's cool.
Yeah. Okay, so you win these fabulous prizes.
Yeah.
Email support, whoever won, I don't remember. Email support, and you will get these fabulous prizes. So many fabulous prizes. Okay, time for more EL. Hold on, I'm gonna put this on, and then we're gonna put it on the cat. Okay. Okay, we're gonna wrap this around the cat.
All right. If you're wondering how long the eel is, you can see, but you can measure it with a cat.
Well, he's pretty long.
Yeah.
That's a pretty long cat.
All right. So.
You think he wants the blue or the white EL?
I think he wants his dignity back.
No.
But, okay. Yeah. It's really hard to get the camera to focus, but yeah. This is what happens when
He looks very sad.
Yeah. I'm Flynn's pet and Tron. Yeah.
Bleep, 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 bleep.
Yeah.
Here, I'll tie this so that it's... There you go.
Yeah.
We will have to make a cat collar out of this. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah.
All right, poor animal.
Okay. And that's it. Special thanks to George for doing the recording. Everybody who is in the show and tell.
I'm willing to wear this too.
Yeah, it's nice.
Scarf.
We'll see you next week. 9:30, show and tell, 10 o'clock, Ask an Engineer.
Yeah.
We're almost approaching our 2nd year anniversary of Ask an Engineer. 2 more shows.
We've had 100 shows so far.
Yeah, big deal.
100 shows. Yeah, show and tell. Don't forget to bring something to the show and tell. We will be displeased. We'll have lots of really cool stuff to show next week. We'll show this cat.
Yeah.
We'll have the EL strip maybe, hopefully, in the store.
Okay, here is
all good stuff.
Your moment of Zener.